Hey folks, welcome to Dynam-ICS Training Solutions. I'm Mark, better known as the ICS Rebel, because apparently I can't just follow a script and behave like a normal instructor. And honestly, why would I? ICS is supposed to be practical, understandable, and usable, not a stack of buzzwords that make your eyes glaze over halfway through the course manual. That's what this channel is about. These videos are short, simple, and built for real people doing real work in the real world, not just for the traditional emergency service crowd. Whether you're in healthcare, public works, education, industry, a First Nation community, or the private sector, or you're the person who always ends up in charge when things go sideways, you're in the right place. This is part one of our ICS Basics series, and together these clips form the pre-course study for our Essentials 1 Type 5 incident program. So if you're watching these before class, perfect. You're already ahead of the game. Now, quick Reader's Digest version. A Type 5 incident is your small, fast-moving, single-period event. Limited resources, one operational period, and usually you wearing every hat at once. Incident commander, operations, planning, and probably coffee unit leader. It's still organized chaos, just compact and caffeinated. Now, an important heads up. If you've taken ICS training before, you might need to set some of that aside for a minute. Dynam-ICS is the next generation of ICS learning. We use different methods, and we're literally rewiring your brain on how to learn ICS. It might feel different compared to other programs, but trust us, there's a reason behind every change. By the end, it'll click, and you'll see ICS from a whole new perspective. These clips are designed to help you train your team, refresh your knowledge, or survive that meeting that could have been an email. You don't need to be a firefighter, paramedic, or superhero to use ICS. You just need a system that helps you organize chaos and keep people safe. And that's exactly what we're going to cover, one quick video at a time. Dynam-ICS Training Solutions, the next generation of ICS learning. All right, time for the boring but necessary part. Yeah, the legal stuff. Grab a sip of coffee, because this is where the lawyers make sure we all behave. This presentation, video, and all related materials are the property of Dynam-ICS Training Solutions, a division of MWE Training Solutions, Inc. All content, including concepts, mnemonics, graphics, narration, and visual materials, is protected under Canadian copyright law and international intellectual property agreements. All images and graphics, unless otherwise specified, are AI generated exclusively for MWE Training Solutions, Inc., and remain the sole property of MWE Training Solutions, Inc. No portion of this program may be rebranded, copied, recorded, reproduced, distributed, broadcast, or used for instructional purposes without the express written permission of MWE Training Solutions, Inc. Use of the Dynam-ICS name, logo, or related trademarks without authorization is strictly prohibited. The Incident Command System, or ICS, is a public domain framework. Dynam-ICS builds upon those public concepts with proprietary training methods and original instructional design, including the Trust Mnemonic, Operational Iceberg, and Action Cycle methodology, all of which are original works of MWE Training Solutions, Inc. Dynam-ICS Training Solutions is an independent provider of ICS education and is not affiliated with ICS Canada, CIFSI, Public Safety Canada, FEMA, or any government agency. Any similarity to other training materials is coincidental or results from the shared public domain ICS system. 2025 MWE Training Solutions, Inc., all rights reserved. And now, the part the lawyers don't write. We're not only authorizing the use of this video as a training tool for your organization, we're encouraging it. Through our YouTube channel, you're welcome to use these videos as learning tools or quick ICS refreshers. They're a great fit for training nights, conference lead-ins, or staff meeting kickoffs. If you find value in them, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and maybe even drop a note on LinkedIn to share your thoughts. Because when we all keep learning ICS the right way, everyone wins. Dynam-ICS Training Solutions, the next generation of ICS learning. Hey folks, I'm Mark, but you may also know me as the ICS Rebel on LinkedIn. After more than 3 decades in emergency services, from firefighter to municipal leadership to emergency manager, I decided it was time to shake things up. I built Dynam-ICS Training Solutions to bring ICS learning back to what it should be: practical, plain language, and usable by anyone who finds themselves managing chaos. I spent nearly 14 years as an instructor at an emergency services college, teaching fire, technical rescue, and specializing in all levels and positions of ICS. I've taught ICS across Canada, helped design national ICS programs, and worked with everyone from first responders to oil and gas, healthcare, and public works teams. Along the way, I realized something. Too many ICS courses had become about reading scripts instead of building skill. So we're changing that. Here at Dynam-ICS, we focus on facilitator-led learning, humor, and modern tools, including AI, to make ICS actually make sense. Because let's be honest, if you're not laughing, you're not learning. Now, I don't do this alone. I've got a team, my AI-powered TechSpecs, each one designed to help you learn ICS in a whole new way. So here's my right-hand iBot, Ash, to introduce you to the rest of the team and narrate the bulk of the program.
Hey there, I'm Ash, your narrator and guide for this Dynam-ICS Basics self-learning program. You'll be hearing a lot from me throughout the course. I'll be walking you through most of the lessons, helping connect the dots, and making sure everything flows smoothly from one topic to the next. Now, I'm not flying solo here. Dynam-ICS is a team effort, and just like in a real ICS environment, everyone has their role. Let me introduce you to the rest of our virtual crew. Rebel Mark, you'll hear from him now and then. He's the creator of Dynam-ICS and sits in the background making sure everything runs like a well-oiled command post. When he jumps in, you know something important, or funny, is coming. Isley handles strategies and the big picture thinking. When it's time to talk about setting objectives, planning ahead, or choosing the best course of action, you'll hear her voice. Aiko covers the management characteristics, those core ICS principles that keep everything organized and accountable. You'll hear from Aiko whenever we start talking about structure, coordination, and how teams actually manage an incident effectively. IDEN is our go-to for Rebel tips, those quick real-world insights from Mark's decades in the field. Whenever you hear IDEN, expect something practical, grounded, and maybe even a little bit funny. And finally, Aya will walk you through incident typing and incident management teams, explaining how complexity grows, how roles expand, and how the system scales as incidents evolve. Together, we're the Dynam-ICS TechSpec team, built to bring the incident command system to life in a way that's clear, relevant, and actually enjoyable to learn. So grab that coffee, get comfortable, and let's get started. This is Dynam-ICS, the next generation of ICS learning. You know, sometimes life just throws you a curveball before you've even finished your first cup of coffee. It's 8:30 in the morning, you're still half awake, maybe planning to grab breakfast, and then you look out the window. There it is, a big column of black smoke, flames rolling up behind your new fence, and your brain goes from 0 to 100 in about 3 seconds. Now you're not thinking about coffee anymore. You're thinking, what do I need to do about this right now? That's incident management in its rawest form. No time to read a policy, no time for a formal meeting, just immediate assessment and action. Your instinct kicks in. You size it up. Fire's spreading fast, exposure on the neighbor's property, wind directions not helping. You set your priorities. First, protect life. Make sure everyone's clear of the area. Second, stabilize the situation. Grab that garden hose, maybe alert the fire department. Third, protect property. That fence you just built suddenly looks a lot less important than the house behind it. Without realizing it, you've just run a mental version of ICS. What's the problem? What's my objective? What resources do I have right now, and who's going to do what? That's the essence of incident management. It's not just for major emergencies, it's for any situation that demands quick thinking, clear priorities, and organized action. So whether it's a full-scale wildfire or a backyard surprise like this, the thought process is the same. Recognize the problem, decide what needs to be done, plan how to do it, assign responsibilities, and get to work. That's the mindset behind Dynam-ICS, taking the structured approach of ICS and bringing it down to the real world, where unexpected things happen at 8:30 in the morning. Welcome to the program, and remember, sometimes the best lessons start with a little smoke on the horizon. All right, so let's take a step back and look at what just happened. You wake up, see flames, and instantly your brain kicks into problem-solving mode. You don't grab a flowchart or pull out an ICS form, you react. But that reaction actually is the foundation of incident management. Let's break it down. First, you recognize the problems. Fire in the back alley, potential exposure to your brand new fence, and who knows what else on the other side of it. That's your size up. You've identified the immediate issues that demand attention. Next, you set your intent. What do I want to do about it? The goal's clear. Get that fire out as soon as possible and control the damage until it is. That's your objective. Then comes the strategy. How am I going to do that? In this case, two options. Call the fire department and use the garden hose to protect exposures until they arrive. That's your plan taking shape. Not fancy, but effective. Once you've got a plan, your mind shifts to resources. What do I have and what do I need? You've got two people, yourself and Holly, a water source and a phone. But you know that's not enough to finish the job, so you call for reinforcements. The fire department. That's resource management in its simplest form. Finally, you create assignments. Holly, you call 911. Mark, you take the hose and cool things down until help arrives. Those are task-level decisions, clearly communicated. Sound familiar? It should. That's ICS in action. You identified the problem, you set your objectives, you developed a quick strategy, you organized your resources, and you assigned tasks. It's the same structured process we'll use throughout this course, just scaled up for bigger, more complex incidents. So before we even talk about the components of ICS, the action cycle, the players, and the management characteristics, remember this moment. Because whether it's a backyard fire or a citywide emergency, the same thought process applies. What's happening? What do I want to achieve? How will I do it? What do I need? And who's going to do what? That's where good command starts, with clear thinking and quick, organized action. You've been using ICS your entire life. You just didn't know it. Every time something goes wrong or something needs to get done, your brain automatically starts following the same process that ICS teaches. You see a problem, you size it up, you plan what to do, figure out what you need, and decide who's going to handle it. That's the same flow ICS uses on any incident. Let's start simple. You open your fridge, and staring back at you is one lonely can of beans. That's your trigger. That's your incident. What's the issue? The fridge is empty. What do I want to do about it? Eat something other than beans. How am I going to do it? Go get groceries. What do I need for resources? Money, the car, maybe a grocery list. And who's going to do the work? Probably me, unless I can convince someone else in the house to go instead. You just completed a full cycle of incident management. You identified the problem, built a plan, gathered resources, and made an assignment. All before your stomach even finished growling. Now let's take another one. You look outside and realize your yard looks like it belongs in a nature documentary. The grass is up to your knees, the neighbors have stopped waving, and the city bylaw truck is creeping down the street. What's the issue? The lawn is a mess. What do I want to do about it? Cut the grass. How am I going to do it? Get the mower out and start cutting. What do I need for resources? The mower, some gas, maybe a bottle of water. And who's going to do the work? That's an easy one, my kid. This is where delegation comes in handy. Again, that's the ICS process in action. Issue, plan, resources, and task assignments. You've just created an operational plan for lawn maintenance. And one more. You're driving home and suddenly hear that horrible thump, thump, thump. Flat tire. Congratulations, you've just been assigned a real-life incident. What's the issue? Flat tire. What do I want to do about it? Fix it so I can get home. How am I going to do it? Change it myself or call roadside assistance. What do I need for resources? The spare tire, the jack, the wrench, maybe that CAA card that's been in the glove box since 2014. And who's going to do the work? Either me or the professional I just called. And once again, that's ICS thinking. Identify the issue, decide what to do, plan how to do it, line up your resources, and make the assignment. Here's the big takeaway. ICS isn't some new, complicated process. It's simply a structured version of what you already do every single day. The difference is, when incidents get bigger and more people or organizations get involved, we need a shared language and a coordinated way to manage it all. Whether it's a wildfire, a water main break, or just an empty fridge, you've already got the mindset. ICS just helps you turn that natural problem-solving instinct into a repeatable, organized system. It's the same thinking. We're just giving it names, structure, and a bit more purpose. Because sometimes, managing chaos starts with something as simple as one can of beans and a kid who owes you a chore.
Hey, Ash, great job so far, but I'm going to jump in on this one for a minute. All right, let's talk about this thing called a management system. A management system is your playbook for chaos. It's what keeps everyone from running off in different directions when things start getting spicy. Without one, you get 10 people with 10 different plans. Someone grabbing tools, someone calling their boss, someone doing absolutely nothing, and someone else giving live commentary like it's a sports broadcast. A management system fixes that. It's not about controlling people, it's about coordinating people, making sure the right folks do the right things in the right order for the right reasons. Because here's the rebel truth: guessing isn't a strategy, hope isn't a plan, and winging it usually ends with, we should probably never do it like that again. Now, ICS, the Incident Command System, is a management system. But here's the part everyone forgets: ICS is a box of tools, not a set of rules. Those tools don't put out the fire, rescue the patient, or fix the water main. You do. ICS just keeps you organized enough to make that happen without pure chaos running the show. And those three main ICS components, the action cycle, the players, and the management characteristics, they're just that, tools you pull out when you need them and use wherever they fit in the best interest of the incident. That's the beauty of ICS. It scales up, scales down, and bends to fit the situation, as long as you actually apply it. And remember, every management system depends on solid leadership. Calm, clear, confident decision making. That's what keeps an incident moving forward instead of spiraling into confusion. So when I say apply ICS, I mean use the parts that help you, skip the parts that don't, and keep the team aligned, safe, and effective.
Okay, team, let's have a chat about leadership. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, here comes another cliche list pulled straight off LinkedIn, hang with me. This isn't theory, this is real life. The kind of stuff that actually makes people want to follow you, and maybe even enjoy doing it. So, what makes a great leader? Let's walk through it together. Number 1, visionary. Great leaders see a little further down the road. They can point to the horizon and say, that's where we're going, and here's why it matters. Number 2, decisive. When the pressure's on, they don't freeze. They listen, they weigh options, and then they make the call, and they own it. Number 3, integrity. This one's the foundation. Trust. If people can't trust you, nothing else sticks. Number 4, empathy. Leaders don't just see the work, they see the people doing it. They get that feelings and pressures are part of the job too. Number 5, communication. They can explain things in plain language. No buzzwords, no jargon. The kind of clarity where even your Uncle Bob finally stops calling the Wi-Fi the internet box. Number 6, adaptability. Because let's be real, plans never survive first contact. Great leaders adjust without panicking and keep everyone moving forward. Number 7, confidence, but not arrogance. They project calm assurance. You believe in them, but they don't cross that line into know-it-all. Number 8, accountability. They own the mistakes, share the credit, and never, and I mean never, throw people under the bus. Number 9, inspiration. They don't just hand out tasks. They light a fire that makes people want to bring their best. And number 10, resilience. When things fall apart, and they will, great leaders get back up, dust off, and keep leading. So there you go. 10 traits. Not about being perfect, because nobody is, but great leaders admit when they're wrong, they learn, and they keep going. and that's why people stick with them.
You know, people always think everything is an emergency. Take this one, a cat in a tree. I mean, really? Have you ever seen a cat skeleton in a tree? Didn't think so. They always come down when they're hungry enough. Now let's talk about what actually is an emergency incident. In the world of ICS, that's the Incident Command System. An emergency incident is any situation that throws a wrench into the well-oiled machine of your day. It's that moment when normal operations suddenly stop being normal. It's the situation that screams, "Fix me, or I'll get worse," or waves a big red flag for life safety, or threatens property or the environment. That's when we shift gears. When someone needs to take command, get organized, and start turning chaos into control. So, to be clear, in this little furball, not an incident. Mild inconvenience, maybe. But in ICS terms, nobody's in danger, nothing's getting worse, and the environment's just fine. Oh, remember, an emergency isn't just when something happens. It's when something happens that needs to be managed. And that's where ICS steps in, turning those uh-oh moments into organized response before they ever become an oh-no.
When we talk about managing an incident using ICS, there are a few priorities that never change, no matter the size, type, or location of the emergency. The first thing we focus on is saving lives. That means doing whatever it takes to prevent further injury or loss of life. Whether it's one person or 100, protecting people always comes first. Next, we think about stabilizing the incident. That's just a fancy way of saying, stop the situation from getting worse. You can't fix a problem that's still growing, so before anything else, we work to bring things under control and keep them from spreading. And finally, we aim to protect property and the environment. Once life safety and stability are handled, we do everything we can to reduce damage and protect what's left, whether it's a home, a business, a park, or a piece of equipment. These three principles form the backbone of every ICS decision. They're simple, but they drive everything that happens in an incident, from the first person on scene to the final debrief. We just talked about the three main priorities in ICS: saving lives, stabilizing the incident, and protecting property and the environment. Now here's the big question. Which one comes first? It's kind of like asking, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And the truth is, it depends. Most instructors will tell you your first objective should always be life safety. And that's absolutely true, in principle. But in the real world, sometimes you have to stabilize the situation before you can save lives. Take a look at this example. There's a fire spreading through the base of a tree, a cat stuck up top, wildlife nearby, and a cottage in the background. What do you deal with first? Do you save the cat? Do you put out the fire? Do you protect the cottage? Are there people in that cottage? Are you by yourself with limited resources? Do you have the people and equipment to focus on life safety first? Or do you hold the line and do what you can until help arrives? There are a lot of variables in every incident, so you see, it just depends. There's no single right answer, because each choice affects the others. Maybe putting out the fire saves everything. Maybe you can do all three at once. Or maybe one action automatically takes care of the others. That's the reality of incident management. It's never black and white. Every situation is unique, and priorities can shift in seconds. From my experience, people usually know, deep down, what the true priority is in the moment they're in. The key is to remember the priorities themselves, because that's what ICS is built on. Saving lives, stabilizing the incident, protecting property and the environment. The order might change, but the goal never does.
Let's talk about incident typing and what it actually means. In ICS, every incident is assigned a type. That type tells us how complex the incident is, how long it might last, and what kind of team it takes to manage it. Think of it like a scale, from the simplest, most common incidents all the way up to the largest, most complex ones that involve entire regions or even the whole country. We'll start from the bottom, Type 5. These are your everyday incidents. They're usually handled within a few hours, often by one person or one small team. Things like a broken water main, a small fire, a gas leak, or a power outage in a single building. Quick to manage, quick to wrap up. That's Type 5. Type 4 is still local, but bigger and more involved. These might take several hours or a full day to resolve. You might see multiple departments or agencies involved, maybe a road closure, an equipment failure, or a storm cleanup that requires coordination between public works, utilities, and safety. You're still in your own jurisdiction, but it's big enough that it needs organization, documentation, and a little ICS structure to keep it all running smoothly. Now we move to Type 3. This is where things start getting serious. Type 3 incidents are multi-day events. They require an incident management team, a group of trained people who fill specific ICS roles, hold meetings, write plans, and manage multiple operational periods. These incidents might include major flooding across several communities, large industrial accidents, or wildfires that span multiple jurisdictions. It's not everyday work, and it requires experienced, qualified people to manage it safely. Type 2 steps up another level. These are regional incidents that last weeks and require provincial or federal support. A major wildfire affecting several communities or a widespread public health emergency would fall into this category. You'll often see multiple agencies working under a formal unified command structure at this level. At the very top is Type 1. These are national level events, the rare, large-scale disasters that affect thousands or even millions of people. Think of a hurricane, an earthquake, or a pandemic response. These operations can last for months, even years, and require every ICS position imaginable, all working together through a full, formal incident management team. So, what's the takeaway? Most of us will spend our entire careers working in Type 5 and Type 4 incidents, local events that happen every day and can be handled quickly with the right organization and communication. Some people might experience a Type 3 once or twice, but only a few will ever work in a Type 2 or Type 1. The important part is this. No matter the size, ICS works for all of them because it scales up or down to fit whatever incident you're managing.
When we talk about incident typing, we're really talking about complexity. Complexity isn't just about the size of the incident. It's about how difficult it is to manage with the resources and experience currently on scene. That's where the complexity analysis comes in. This chart helps us evaluate what type of incident management team we need to effectively manage the situation. IMTs are also categorized as Type 5 through Type 1. Type 5 and 4 teams are generally made up of local resources, while Type 3 to Type 1 teams are often highly trained and qualified for the more complex kinds of incidents. So the question becomes, can we keep going with local resources, or do we need to bring in more experienced personnel, maybe even a fully trained IMT that's prepared for this type of incident? You'll see that Type 5 incidents are at the top, representing the least complex, short duration, limited impact, and manageable with local resources. As those factors increase, more resistance to stabilization, longer duration, higher impacts, political involvement, or cascading conditions, the incident begins to move toward Type 4 and Type 3 territory. That's when the on-scene IMT starts asking, do we still have the right people and resources for this, or is it time to call in more experienced help? This analysis is always completed by the current IMT, usually when they recognize that a Type 4 incident might be trending toward Type 3 complexity, and it's time to bring in some additional depth and experience. On the next slide, we'll take a look at what a Type 5 incident management team typically looks like, the starting point for every level that follows.
When we talk about a Type 5 incident management team, we're really talking about the most common setup you'll ever see. It's small, simple, and fast-moving, usually handled right where the incident happens. You've got one person in command. That's you, the one in charge of fixing the problem. You've got someone watching safety for you, because even small incidents can go sideways fast. And then you've got your resources, people, equipment, and teams helping you get the job done. That's your basic Type 5 IMT. It's not fancy, it's not full of meetings, it's just you, your crew, and a plan to get things under control.
All right, before we wrap up part one, let's take a quick look at everything you've now got under your belt. We started with the introductions and the legal stuff: who I am, what Dynam-ICS is all about, and why the lawyers insist we behave on camera. Then we jumped into Mark's almost fence fire, our perfect little Type 5 incident. One operational period, minimal resources, maximum embarrassment, but a great teaching moment that showed how quickly ICS thinking kicks in. We talked about how you've actually been doing ICS your whole life. Every time you solved a problem, organized people, or managed chaos without giving it a fancy name. We defined what a management system really is: a straightforward way to organize when things get messy and need clarity, direction, and teamwork. We clarified what counts as an emergency incident, something out of the ordinary that needs structure, fast decisions, and coordinated action to protect people, stabilize the situation, and prevent further damage. We dug into ICS priorities: saving lives, stabilizing the incident, and property and environmental protection, and how the incident itself sometimes decides which one comes first. We walked through incident typing, from everyday Type 5s to the world's upside-down Type 1s, showing how incident size and complexity determine the type of incident management team you may need. We followed that with a complexity analysis, the tool that helps whoever is currently in charge figure out when an incident might be escalating and when it's time to bring in more experienced IMT help, or maybe even a fully qualified incident management team as a whole. And finally, we looked at what a Type 5 incident management team typically looks like: small, local, and often the same people who were already there when the incident started. That's everything you've covered in part one: the what, the why, and the how big is this thing really of incident management. In part two, we take that foundation and put it in motion. We'll explore the three-component system and walk through the action cycle step by step, the heartbeat of ICS. But for now, well done getting through part one. Take a breather, grab a coffee, and when you're ready, I'll see you in part two. And that wraps up part one of our ICS Basics series here at Dynam-ICS Training Solutions, the next generation of ICS learning. We've covered a lot, from what ICS is and why it matters, to incident types, complexity, priorities, and how a basic Type 5 incident management team fits into the picture. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're already ahead of most people who think ICS is just paperwork and acronyms. But now it's time to take it a step further. In part two, we'll dig into how the system actually moves, the three-component system and the action cycle that turns ICS theory into action. Before you go, don't forget to check out Mark, the ICS Rebel blog, for more insight, humor, and the occasional rant about making ICS training actually make sense. You can also follow Dynam-ICS Training Solutions on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook for updates and new releases, or just scan the QR codes right on your screen. I'm Mark, the ICS Rebel. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and remember, if you're not laughing, you're not learning. See you in part two.